People move to Portland expecting coffee shops, walkable neighborhoods, and that Portland vibe. But a lot of them, they end up frustrated because no one warned them about the real stuff. When you think about living in Portland, Oregon, there's a lot you hear online. But then there's also a lot of people that don't talk about it. You'll see highlight reels, food carts, bridges, forest park hikes, cute neighborhoods. But what you don't hear about are the day-to-day realities that actually shape your experience here in Portland, Oregon. So today I'm sharing 7 things that no one tells you about living in Portland. There are things that you only learn after you've already moved here. Now, some of these are deal breakers. Others, they're reasons why locals love it here entirely. But either way, if you're thinking about relocating, you need to understand them. And if you're thinking about moving to Portland, Oregon, or just want honest, real information from someone who actually lives and works here, hit subscribe, tap the bell, let's get into it. Now, thing number 1, it's the cost that nobody warns you about. Everyone looks at home prices first, and that's normal. But housing is only part of the story here. Property taxes vary more than what you expect. 2 homes at the same price can have very different monthly payments. Just because of tax differences, then there's utilities, of course. You know, gas, parking, electricity. There's a whole bunch of utilities that you have to consider. Portland has a lot of older homes, and especially in the neighborhoods on the west side that people want, these older homes mean older systems. Older insulation, older electrical, older plumbing. Heating bills can surprise people here. Obviously, you know, we typically only get sun about maybe a third to maybe a fourth out of the year. And so this can surprise a lot of people. And here's the part no one actually budgets for. I certainly didn't whenever I moved here. I moved from Texas, a hot state that's reliant on central AC cooling air. Moving here, when you're only seeing sun about a quarter of the year, it makes a big difference. Now, there's obviously maintenance, the charming of these Portland homes. They often come with those outdated items that I mentioned already, like such as outdated electrical panels, galvanized plumbing, sewer lines that may need replacements, excessive root intrusion. Then there's also radon mitigation. You can also see issues with foundation, excessive settling, or crumbling foundation in general. These costs add up. It's very, very expensive. Now, these aren't rare. They're common in the most desirable areas, especially on the east side. And then there's something almost no one talks about. It's the lifestyle inflation. Portland makes it very easy to spend money. A $6 cup of coffee, weekend brunch, food carts, you got breweries, and then you got the weekend farmers markets. There's also concerts, coastal trips. Individually, it may not seem like a big deal, but collectively, your monthly spending shifts fast. And most people don't realize it until a few months in. And this is why we walk buyers through a true monthly cost, not for just the mortgage. So definitely, if that sounds like you and you're needing a little bit of help and handholding, definitely reach out to my team and I. We help clients move here every single month. So we can actually help you get to the foot in the door just so it can make it a little bit easier. Now let's talk about thing number 2. It's the weather adjustment. Like I briefly mentioned it before that, you know, it rains here almost 2/3 out of the year. You know, does it pour like most people imagine? Does it drizzle? Yeah, typically. There's not really much heavy rain, but the bigger adjustment isn't the rain, it's the gray. From late October through early spring, so maybe like April to May, just depending on if we see the groundhog or not, you can go weeks without consistent sun. Now this year is different. This year has been a little bit of a mild winter, and so we actually saw more sun, and so it's not going to be consistent year over year, but what you could typically expect is those long gray skies that I mentioned. Now, for some people, it's pretty cozy. For others, it's a real mental shift. Now, I moved here from Texas, like I mentioned already. That's a sunny state. This state here, gray skies. It was a huge shift, 1 mentally, but 2 physically. In my mind, I felt like I couldn't really do much if it rains. You just have to adapt and you have to shift and you just have to learn to actually do stuff even if it's raining or drizzling. You know, especially if you work from home and if you're not intentional about routine, about movement, about getting outside, the gray can feel actually pretty heavy, heavier than expected. Now summers, on the other hand, it's a completely different story. Summers here are incredible. Long daylight, dry air, outdoor everything, but they're short. And in recent years, we've had excessive heat waves, wildfire smoke that catches a lot of newcomers off guard. You know, my colleagues and my friends can attest, back in 2021 when we had a crazy wildfire season in the summer, I kid you not, I would step outside of my office and the skies are red. It's crazy. You know, people expect mild weather year round. Portland is mild, but it still has those extremes like I mentioned. And here's something else. Microclimates are real. The west side can feel cooler and wetter, and then the east side can feel sunnier and slightly warmer because it's the elevation, and elevation matters. A few miles can change your daily experience. So quick question, could you handle months of gray if it meant mild winters? Let me know in the comments. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think, because I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are, because knowing firsthand what you're going to potentially move to depending on the east side or the west side or the certain neighborhoods is so important. Leave that comment below. Let's get into thing number 3. Portland has its own rules. That's a fact. We're kind of weird in that aspect. Now, Portland is polite, but it's aggressively friendly. People are kind. Social circles form slowly. They build slowly. And this isn't a city where strangers immediately invite you over a cup of coffee or a dinner or even lunch. Relationships form differently. They form through consistency. And I stand by that. Same coffee shop, same gym, same dog park, same farmer's market. You'll oftentimes see the same people day in and day out. I mean, we understand that humans are huge creatures of habit. So over time, these familiar faces turn into real conversations. Another thing that matters, value matters here. Sustainability, supporting local businesses, walkability, environmental awareness, community involvement. These aren't just trends. They shape how people live here in Portland, Oregon. Now, neighborhoods, question mark, they define your identity. Living in one neighborhood can feel completely different from living in an entirely different area. Even if it's just 15 minutes apart, you're not just choosing a house here, you're choosing microculture. I will repeat that to you. You're choosing microculture. If this kind of local insight is helpful, make sure you're subscribed to my channel here at Living in Portland, Oregon. I break down videos every single week teaching you what it's like to live here, move here, and what the actual experience here is like in Portland, Oregon. Now, let's talk about thing number 4. It's the neighborhood choices that change everything, and this is a big one. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, 2 homes, same price, completely different experience. Now, one might be quiet, residential, plenty of parking. The other, more dense, more walkable, more noise, more chaos. To each their own, right? Less parking, and on paper, they look different. In real life, it's almost like it's 2 different cities. Some neighborhoods can look amazing online, but at night or during peak rush hours, totally different vibe. Now, that's why it's so important to choose where you live. You hear it on multiple other videos, and in this video especially, choosing the neighborhood is so important because it's going to dictate your lifestyle. This is where most people get it wrong. They fall in love with listing photos, but they didn't spend time around the block. What amenities are around there? What's the infrastructure like? How fast can you get to certain areas? Here's the truth. Portland is a city where the wrong neighborhood can make people hate the city. Even if Portland was never the problem, and usually is never the problem. I've seen it happen. The city wasn't an issue. The fit was. And that's why we spend so much time dialing in those neighborhoods before anyone moves here entirely. Now, if that sounds like you or you're even considering it, choosing the correct neighborhood is so important, especially depending on where you're going to be employed at. Again, I want you to reach out to my team if you're even having a question, because making informed decisions now can save you that costly move way in the future. Let's get into thing number 5. It's the commute and traffic. This is pretty important. Now, if you look at the map, Portland looks small on the map, but the rivers, the bridges, all create bottlenecks. Crossing the Willamette during rush hour, forget about it. It can easily double your drive time. It's not about the miles, it's about the routes. A 15-minute drive at 10 a.m. can be 35 minutes long. I'll repeat that, a 15-minute drive at 10 a.m. can be 35 minutes long. And then even at 4:30 in the afternoon. Now, there's obviously alternatives to transit, such as public transportation, such as the TriMet, or even biking. These can be great options if you live near these accessible lanes or in the right line. But being just a little too far from a good stop can change everything. One of the biggest regrets I see choosing the wrong side, like I mentioned many times in this video, especially depending on where you work in the city. It's avoidable, but if you really think about it early and actually take the necessary steps to prevent this issue, and that's why we help people map out their commute before choosing the correct neighborhood. Now let's talk about thing number 6. Its community is hyperlocal. Portland is friendly, but friendships form through routine, like I mentioned earlier. You'll see the same people. They're walking the same dog. A good example is whenever I first moved here, and even till now, the majority of my peers and my close friends within my circle, they all started at the gym. If you know me personally, and you will get to know me, I'm a big proponent of fitness. I work out every morning and I see the same people, and that's how I collected my good form relationships over time. And that's how I grew my business over time. And so, that is one metric. There's other ways, maybe a running club, a golfing association, doesn't matter. You go to the same coffee shop, go to the same park. Over time, these nods or simple handshakes or turn into, hey, what's your name? How are you? They turn into conversations. Most people don't casually drive 30 minutes across town to just socialize or grab a drink or coffee. Life revolves around your neighborhood and your neighborhood's radius. So picking the right area for your lifestyle matters more than people expect. If you want community, choose a place that naturally supports your hobbies. Like I mentioned, running. What restaurants do you like to eat? Do you have kids? Are you a big proponent of nightlife? Or are you more prevalent or more concerned about quiet streets? If you're thinking long-term, this part is important. When people tell us they want community, we help them choose places where that happens naturally. Now let's talk about this last one. It's the unwritten rules of Portland, Oregon. Especially in 2026, Portland has those strong social norms. Biking matters, pedestrians matter, quiet residential streets matter. Duh. And no one formally explains this. You just feel it. People avoid confrontation. It's a huge thing. So expectations are often just implied, unfortunately. Repeatedly parking in front of someone's house, running loud engines at night, blocking bike lanes. You may not get yelled at, but you'll feel the shift. It's almost like a passive aggressive nature. Does that make sense? And of course, when it comes to businesses and supporting them, it's a cultural thing. Chains exist, of course, but really true local value is the independent spots, the sustainability that is woven into the identities of all these local businesses. If you understand the social rhythm here, you'll integrate much faster. So those are the 7 things that no one tells you about living in Portland, Oregon. And honestly, these are the things that make or break people's experience here. Portland can be a truly incredible city. I stand by that. I moved here years ago and I haven't looked back. The access to nature, the food scene, the neighborhoods, the lifestyle. But it works when you move here informed, so you can ultimately make those informed decisions. And if you're seriously thinking about moving to Portland, Oregon here in 2026 or beyond, and you want expert, no pressure guidance, give my team a call, a text or email. My description is going to be on the screen and below in the description. We help people relocate the right way, avoid costly mistakes, and actually enjoy living here. And don't forget to hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. I drop videos every single week. And if this video helped you guys and you specifically, check out this next one where I'm going to be breaking down the real pros and cons of living in Portland, Oregon, so you can decide if this city is truly right for you.